ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो सर्व प्रचोदयात्। ओम महादेव्यै च विद्महे विष्णुपत्न्यै च धीमहि तन्नो लक्ष्मी प्रचोदयात्। ओम महादेव्यै च विद्महे विरिञ्चिपत्न्यै च धीमहि तन्नो वाणी प्रचोदयात्। ओम कात्यायनाय विद्महे कन्याकुमारी धीमहि तन्नो दुर्गे प्रचोदयात्। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Sai Ram and happy Navaratri greetings to all devotees attending this satsang. I had chosen the topic of Srimad Bhagavad Gita Mahatmyam to talk in this satsang, but our youthful Sai brothers have suggested to me to tell a few words on Navaratri before starting the main topic. Today is Durgashtami, the most important day of the Navaratri festival. As you all know, Navaratri is a very interesting and exhaustive topic. Let me try to stick to the instructions. As per Skanda Purana, there are 4 Navaratris in a year coinciding with the change in the season. It also says in each yuga, only one of them was celebrated in a big way. In Satya Yuga, it was Chaitra or Basant Navaratri. In Treta Yuga, it was Ashad Navaratri. In Dwapara Yuga, it was Magha or Pausha Navaratri. And in Kali Yuga, it is Sharad Navaratri. Ashad and Magha Navaratris are called Gupta Navaratris, meaning hidden. That is, they are done privately in homes and not as a public function. These were mainly for the purpose of building up the spiritual energy by engaging in puja, meditation, and tapas. Chaitra or Basant Navaratri coincides with Ramanavami. In North India and in some parts of West, 9 days of fasting, study of Ramayana Akhand Path, music and cultural programs are held. As Kanya Puja is done in the south, during Navaratri, they invite 9 boys and give them food and gifts. At the time of Sharad Navaratri, they celebrate the victory of Rama over Ravana and enact the Ram Leela in a grand way and burn the effigies of Ravana, Meghnath and Kumbhakarna. It is said Rama invoked Ma Shakti and prayed before going for the final day of the war, that is Vijayadashmi. On Deepavali day, Rama returned to Ayodhya. He was welcomed with illumination all through his path and every nook and corner of Ayodhya. In Mahabharata also, it is said that the Pandavas prayed to Shakti and did puja to their weapons on Vijayadashmi day at the end of their Vanavasa and Ajnatavasa. This led to their victory in the war. In Kali Yuga, Sharad Navaratri is observed by one and all in a very grand manner. It is predominantly Shakti worship. Every house takes a festive look and the 9 days are spent in the worship of Lakshmi, Saraswati and Durga. All other forms of Devi are also worshipped according to the popular deity of the region. Temples add to the gaiety of this by doing homas. Sannyasis, Matadipatis, and Devi Upasakas do elaborate Navavarana Puja. It is mainly for the Shiva Shaktiyaika Rupini Lalitambika, with many other names like Chamundi, Rajarajeshwari, Sharada, Kamakshi, and so on, who is invoked in the center or Bindu of Sri Chakra. The nine concentric circles around the Bindu are formed by Parivara Devatas. These circles are known as the Avaranas or coverings. The names of the nine circles and Parivara Devatas are contained in the Devi Kadgamala mantra, which we used to chant during Navaratri in Sai Sparshan before starting the Lalita Sahasranama Parayana. This is believed to cover the whole area with Shakti's energy. It will be very effective if one gets initiated by a Devi Upasaka. The aspirant has to go around the nine circles to reach the center where Shiva and Shakti are seated. It is no means an easy task. In the east and northeastern parts, only the last 4 days are celebrated. Durga in the form of Mahishasura Mardini is worshipped. She was created by the 3 gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, who gave her their strengths and weapons. All other gods gave her the ornaments, clothes, the lion, and the other paraphernalia to kill Mahishasura, who could be killed only by a woman as per the boon he got from Brahma. The Durga, before she engaged herself in the main war, she had sent Navadurgas. Pratamam Shailaputri, Dvitiyam Brahmachariणी, Tritiyam Chandraganteti, Kushmandeti Chaturtakam, Panchamam Skandamateti, Shashtam Katyayani cha, Saptamam Kalaratrischa, Mahagauriti Shashtakam, Navamam Siddhidatri cha, Navadurga Prakirtitaha. This is the one which comes in the Markandeya Purana in the Devi Mahatmya. Krishna devotees don't get left out. They associate the festival with Krishna Leela and celebrate with Dandiya and Rasa. In short, it is the best time of the year when the whole country is charged with bhakti and festivity. We all will be joining this and enjoying the fun as well as blessings of Sai. Jai Sai Mata. In the Bhagavad Gita series, Sri Ashwath Narayan gave us all power-packed capsules of the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. So I had thought of continuing it with the Mahatmyam, which is having a lot of stories to bring out the importance of every chapter. To make the effect of the capsules given by Sri Ashwath Narayan and allow it to seep deeper into our subconscious mind and remain permanently inscribed in that, it would be good for us to continue the thought process for some more time. For that, stories related to the Bhagavad Gita are the best. During the Bhagavad Gita classes I was conducting in the mid-1980s in Ranchi, now in Jharkhand, I used to look for stories from various sources to tell to lighten the heavy load of philosophy. Swami, in his own suggestive way, sent me a book titled Srimad Bhagavad Gita Mahatmyam in Hindi, with stories to bring out the greatness of every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. I translated them into English. These stories made the students eagerly wait for them. These are from Padma Purana's Uttarakhanda. Today, being the beginning of the series, I may have to take some time to give the introduction, since it has 18 stories for 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. I would try to condense and cover them in probably 3 or 4 sessions, depending on the feedback from you all. In Hindu mythology, all the Puranas are told in the form of a conversation between Ishvara and Parvati, as it comes in Vishnu Sahasranama. Parvatyuvacha kenopayena laghuna Vishnor nama sahasrakam patyate panditair nityam shrotum echamyaham prabho. Ishvara uvacha Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Rama Nama Varanane. This brings out the glory of Mahavishnu. Glories of Ishvara are told in the form of conversation between Mahavishnu and Mahalakshmi. In this particular part of Padma Purana, Parvati expresses her feeling of great bliss after listening to the Krishna Avatar episodes and requests Ishvara to elaborate the meaning of the Bhagavad Gita. Ishvara told Parvati, this was the same question put by Mahalakshmi to Narayana when she saw him reclining on the lap of Adisesha and enjoying the swaying of Kshetrasagara, fully engrossed in some thought. Narayana replied, "O Lakshmi, I am not sleeping as you think. I am thinking of the ways of giving liberation to not only rishis and tapasvis, but also to people like Susharma and many others, and even sinners. Those who want to realize me should worship me in the form of the Bhagavad Gita. Of the 18 chapters, the first 5 are the next 10 chapters are my body, and the last 2 are my lotus feet. Even if unknowingly a person keeps chanting a few words from any verse of the Bhagavad Gita, he will be welcomed into my abode." Mahalakshmi asked, "Who was that Susharma you mentioned? Is Bhagavad Gita so great? You have taken so many avatars and you say you are contained within Bhagavad Gita. I am very eager to know the glory of the Bhagavad Gita." Narayana replied, "O Lakshmi, since you have shown interest in this, let me narrate to you the greatness of every chapter of this Bhagavad Gita through the experiences of ordinary men and even sinners, as I told you." Narayana further continued, "Susharma was a man of poor intellect. He was the topmost of sinners. Though he was a Brahmin by birth, he did not study the Vedas and Puranas, did not do japa, dhyana, puja, homa, yajna, or any activities expected of a Brahmin. On the contrary, he used to consume liquor, eat meat, fight with people, insulted wise men, and was a nuisance to the society. To get some money for his expenses, he used to collect leaves from a nearby forest and sell them in the market to those who stitched and made plates. One day, when he went into the forest, he was bitten by a snake and died. Yamadutas took him to the Yamaloka. Yamaraja ordered that he would undergo torture in the Naraka for all the sins he had committed and would be born as a load-carrying bull in Bhuloka. When he was born as a bull, a lame man bought him for carrying him and his loads of grains to the marketplaces for selling. After leading a miserable life for about 8 years, he became very weak. One day, his master made him climb a steep hill to reach a market with himself and heavy loads of grains. After reaching the market, the bull fell down and died. A big crowd gathered around the place. Everyone pitied that animal and wanted to do something. A sadhu who was in that crowd came forward and told that he would donate a part of the punya he has accrued to the bull. Seeing that many others offered their punya phala in some small quantity. In that crowd, there was a Vesya, a prostitute, who was very much moved by the plight of the bull. She wanted to offer something, but she knew she had not done any punya karma and so cannot offer punya phala. Yet, she thought within herself, if she had done something good, even unknowingly, she would part with that punya phala. The bull was taken to the Yamaraja's court. After going through the bull's records, he was pleased to see the punya phala offered by a Vesya and said the bull would be born as a learned man in a Brahmin family and will have the knowledge of the past. Accordingly, the bull was born as a Brahmin and studied Vedas and Shastras. Since he could remember the past, he was curious to know what punya phala the Vesya woman donated to the bull. He went to her and explained everything and requested her to tell what punya karma she did. She said, I have no knowledge of all these things. I have a parrot in the cage there. It keeps on muttering something. Though I can neither repeat nor understand what it says, I get some peace of mind on listening. I guessed it must be something sacred. I thought even listening to that would have given some punya. I offered that to the bull. Both of them went to the parrot and was asked, what was that? It was repeating and how it learnt it. The parrot replied, in my previous birth, I was a scholar from a noble Brahmin family, but I had Vidya Garvam, jealousy, greed, hatred, and arrogance. I insulted my guru. As a result, I was born as a parrot. But bad luck followed me. I lost my parents when I was very small. I fell down from the nest from a tree and was about to die. At that time, a group of sadhus came that way, picked me up, put me in a cage to protect me and hung it in the ashram. I learned a few lines from what they were chanting. Because of my bad luck again, I was stolen by a thief and he sold me to this woman. I am only repeating what I learnt in that ashram. All the three of them went to the ashram and came to know it was a part of the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Then they learnt it properly and recited the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita every day and attained mukti. So this ends the glory of the first chapter. Now I proceed to the second chapter, since there is still time, as told by Vinod. Is it okay?
Sir, you can continue, sir.
Okay, okay. So this is about the second chapter. Sri Mahavishnu said, Lakshmi, now listen to the incident related to the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. In a place called Purandarpur, there was a Vidwan named Devasharma. He was a very pious man doing dan, yajna, homa, etc. as told in the scriptures. Yet he was feeling unsatisfied and wanted to know the reason from jnanis and tapasvis. Every day he would go with puja materials in search of a jnani. One day he saw a man sitting in meditation. He waited for him to open his eyes and did puja to him and put his question. That Mahatma told him to go to a place called Saupur and meet a shepherd named Mitravan. Devasharma went in search of Mitravan. He didn't know how he looked or anything. He saw a man sitting in samadhi on a rock by the side of a river. He sat at his feet, waiting for him to open his eyes. He put the same question to him, fully convinced he was Mitravan. Mitravan said, once I was taking my sheep inside the forest for grazing. Suddenly, a tiger appeared and looked at the sheep ferociously. I was very much scared and hurriedly collected the sheep, drove them away from there. After running some distance, I looked back and found one of the sheep had gone away from our path and stood facing the tiger. I didn't know what to do. Really scared. Surprisingly, the tiger also stood staring at the sheep but did not pounce on it. Instead, it walked calmly towards the sheep and appeared to be talking to it. Encouraged by the scene I saw, I slowly went towards them. The sheep asked the tiger, "Why don't you eat me? You can have a good meal." The tiger replied, "After coming to this place, some change has come into me. I don't feel like killing you. I don't even feel hunger, thirst, or anger." The sheep said, "It is strange. Even I don't feel the fear of life and hatred for you. My mind is very calm." They both approached Mitravan to find out the reason for this kind of change in both of them. When they were all discussing about this, a monkey, which was sitting on a branch of a tree nearby, called them and said, "I shall tell you the details of this ancient place. In this forest, there is an old Shiva temple. The Shiva Lingam was installed by Brahmaji. A pious man named Sukarma lived here and was worshipping Shiva in the temple. One day, a sadhu came to the temple. Sukarma treated this guest with great respect and offered varieties of fruits he collected in the forest. He told the sadhu, "I am longing to gain Tattva Jnana. For that purpose, I am worshipping the Shiva here. I feel he has come in your form to fulfill my desire." The sadhu smiled and said, "I will write some verses on this rock. These are from the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Keep reading them every day. You will gain Tattva Jnana soon." He blessed Sukarma and disappeared. Sukarma kept reciting the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita as told by the sadhu and gained Tattva Jnana. He realized, as it is told in Guru Stotra, "Tattva Jnanat Param Nasti." There is nothing superior to Tattva Jnana. The monkey further said, as a result, wherever Sukarma went, the place became very peaceful and sacred. That is why in this place, even the animals do not have the animal instinct. Mitravan told Devasharma, after hearing about Sukarma from the monkey, I also went to the Shiva temple, learned the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita written on the rock. I am always peaceful and feel like a Jivan Mukta. So you also go there and learn it. Sriman Narayana told Mahalakshmi, Devasharma took a formal initiation, kept reciting it, and attained mukti. So in this, we have to understand, though everything is available on a platter in our books and records, we have to get initiated by a person who has attained that stage. If you are all not over what to say about the stories, shall I continue or we'll do it next in the next session? Vinod?
Silent. Continue for another 10 minutes. No problem.
Another 10 minutes. Okay. Or if it is not over. One more I will try. Then about the third chapter. Narayana said, in Janasthan, there lived a man named Jada, who belonged to the Kaushik Vamsa. He did not follow his traditional dharma. He fell into the wrong ways of life, gambling, drinking, hunting animals, and being in the company of bad women. Slowly, he lost all his money and so traveled far away from home in search of a job. He made some money and was returning home. Once in the night, some robbers attacked and killed him and took away the money. The dead body was lying underneath a tree. His son was a Dharmatma and was well learned. He started worrying about his father and tried to find out his whereabouts. One day, he met an old friend of his father and came to know of what had happened to his father. He was terribly upset on hearing about the way his father died. He decided to go to Kashi to do the rites for his father. On the 9th day of his journey towards Kashi, he reached the shade of the tree where his father was murdered. It was sunset time, so he did his Sandhya Vandana and recited Gita. All of a sudden, he heard a thundering noise in the sky. He looked up and saw the ghastly looking dead body of his father. But immediately, a beautiful Vimana appeared and he saw his father being taken into it. His father's figure changed beautiful, wearing pitambara and jewels. Sages were bowing to him. He also bowed and his father blessed him. He asked his father to tell him about the events he saw. His father said, by God's grace, you happened to recite the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita in this place, and because of that, I have been liberated. Now you need not go to Kashi. The effect of doing the Pitru Karma there came to me already. The son asked the father, advise me on what I should do further. The father said, you have to do the same thing again. My brother also spent a sinful life like me and is now suffering in the hell. For his sake and for the sake of many others of our ancestors who are suffering in the hell, you read the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, giving all the effects to them in the Sankalpa. Let them also reach the feet of the Lord in a short time. He returned to Janasthan and did as his father said in a Krishna temple, giving away all the effects of the effect. The effects of the reading of the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita released them from the Narakaloka Later, the sun also reached the lotus feet of Vishnu directly. Sairam, I think I will stop with this. Is it okay?
Okay, Aunty. Sairam.
Now I'll end the one, or somebody else is going to do anything. Om
Nobody said.
Sarvesham Swastirбhavatu Sarvesham Shantirbhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkhabhag Bhavet Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam.
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 It was
Thank you
it
for
was a
those who
wonderful,
attended. My throat is
Sairam.
not all right. Sairam. My voice is
Sairam,
very
it
bad.
was-
Bear with it.
Auntie, it was very nice.
What is? Please repeat.
Auntie, it was very nice. Wonderful.
Very nice, is it?
Listening to you after a long time. So this is Rajalakshmi,
was-
Auntie. Yeah.
one
go
was
on.
listening to your voice.
Ah.
Secondly, wonderful the compilation of the various stories from Padma Purana, and which gives a more effective understanding of the Bhagavad Gita series. And for me also, it was a good experience of driving on to the textual and the theoretical aspects. These wonderful stories, and we are very grateful to you for that. Thank you, Sairam.
God. Sairam. Thank you all very much for encouraging words.
Sairam.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you very much. Very nice
Sairam,
stories.
Auntie. Jai Shri here.
Sairam.
Sairam to everyone.
So many voices I'm hearing. I'm feeling very happy.
We are recollecting our memories
Sairam,
of
Auntie. Jai Shri here.
I could recognize your voice.
Auntie,
we
it was
remember-
very nice. Actually, the third one, I just started noting it down because so many stories, we should not get confused because it's so nice. Because each chapter has got so much of value. We never even knew. I never knew that chanting of Bhagavad Gita of this each and every chapter has got so much of value. Never even knew. And the first two, I was listening very nicely. Then the third one, when you started, I started noting it down because I thought it will be of use somewhere. It will definitely help for somebody else also. I thought I will jot it down. So I think next week I have to jot it down from the fourth chapter, whatever you are telling. It was very nice, I think. Very beautiful.
Vinod sends the recorded one.
Recording. Yeah. That's all. So I can note down from the
But
beginning.
actually, in the books in Bhagavad Gita Mahatmya, as Ashwat Narayan had also read out, any line, even half or quarter of a line is sufficient to. But in these stories, one thing I noticed was, if it is initiated by a realized person, so, but just by having a book and some record, but Krishna has said, no effort put in the good purpose will go a waste. It might have very little effect as compared to the way of doing it after initiation and all that, but it will never go a waste. It will always be building up, and we will definitely enjoy the fruits of it. Anyway, thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you.
Thank you.
We all remember fondly the various Navratri festivals that was taking place in Sai's person before this Corona thing. Now we are reliving the memories in this online series. We are very thankful and grateful to Swami for having given this wonderful opportunity to all of us.
Yes.
Thank you, Sairam. Sai Ram.
That's a very good effort you all have put in, and it's a very nice one.
Only Swami's grace and Swami's inspiration. And that helped us all through, and particularly the interest that Praveen and others showed, that
Yes.
pushed things along. Thank you.
Thank
Sai
you
Ram.
very much. Sai Ram. Sai Ram.
Sir.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.